There are mornings when grief says, I don't know if I can do this today. I don't know how to live the rest of my life without one of my children. I don't know if celebrating holidays will ever be something I look forward to again. I don't know if I can laugh without feeling a little guilty. I don't know if I can keep moving forward on some of my most difficult days. And somewhere in my memory is that independent little boy saying, Mom, I can do it. And now I'm learning to answer him. My answer is, son,
welcome to Get Real with Alexis Jones. On this podcast, we'll dive into real relationships with real people guided by the wisdom and perspective of some of the most seasoned voices in our community, our beloved seniors. Each week, we'll unpack the joys, challenges, and lessons learned about love, family, friendship, and everything in between. This is a space for heartfelt conversations, eye-opening truths, and powerful stories that will inspire and challenge the way you think about relationships. We're keeping it honest, unfiltered, and deeply meaningful. So settle in and let's get ready to get real. Let's jump in.
hello and welcome again to another episode of Get Real with Alexis. I am so happy you're here. Thank you for coming back, and thank you if this is your first episode with me. I started a series. I mentioned this in my last episode, and the series is called Finding Joy After Loss. Don't know how many episodes I'm going to do, but I started with episode 1 last week. And episode 1 had to do with what loss really takes from us. And the premise was it doesn't just take people, because when we think of loss, we think of death. But it doesn't just take people. Loss steals security, identity. Loss steals confidence, innocence. Loss can steal trust, hope. It can steal purpose. And in episode 2, I want to talk about how do you find joy when the person you lost was part of who you are. So I want to tell you a little story today. I'm going to name episode 2, Mom, I Can Do It. Let me tell you a little bit about my son, Herman. At 8 pounds plus, I don't remember the ounces, he was a pretty big baby. My first son, Herman, was a beautiful baby who grew to be over 6 feet, 2 inches tall. I think he was 6'3". And he got there relatively quickly. Now, I never realized how tall Herman actually was until I remember a performance by his kindergarten class. You know how you sit anxiously awaiting for your kid to come out, your teacher with that class to march out into the gym. And so I was sitting there and I'm looking at all the classes coming out. Finally, I see Herman's teacher, and they were coming out single file fashion because you know that's how elementary school kids move around the building, in single file fashion. I was waiting anxiously and excitedly for Herman's class to march out in that typical single file fashion. That line had to be straight and quiet. Y'all remember that? I remember, and even nowadays, teachers, especially kindergarten teachers, would have children remind themselves to be silent by putting a finger over their mouth. So they're walking down the hall like this. That's reminding myself, don't talk. Finally, I saw Herman's teacher, and I knew that at any moment, Herman would emerge among this sea of children coming out into the gym. As his class came out, Herman towered over the other students in his class. Now, I guess I was shocked to realize what everyone else had always known or had known for some time. Herman was tall. Herman was very tall. How did I miss this? Sometimes you don't notice when you see someone every day. Sometimes you're so busy trying to take care of them, doing the daily deeds, the food, the homework, the PTA meetings, the get your room clean, and all the things that we do. We don't notice their growth. That is until you realize the clothes and the shoes are suddenly too small. Herman and I finally locked eyes. We were looking for each other. Herman seemed as excited to see me as I was to see him. Our eyes said it all. I was so proud. He absolutely loved making me proud. Herman was independent from the very beginning. If he didn't know how to do something, he was determined to figure it out on his own. Now, as I reflect, I think he proudly looked forward to letting us know that he was able to do it, whatever it was, without any help. Or maybe I was just too slow for Herman. Herman was fiercely independent. This little boy seemed to have one answer for his mom in just about all circumstances. Mom, I can do it. Herman, let me show you how to ride your bike. Mom, I can do it. Let me show you how to tie your shoe. Mom, I can do it. He would sometimes get so frustrated with me because I just needed to get it done. You know how it is. You're raising your children. You've got a list of things that you've got to get done, especially as a single mom. I often didn't have the time or the patience or the luxury to allow Herman to figure it out on his own. I wish, as I look back, as I reflect, I could have a do-over and I would give him those opportunities because he wanted those opportunities. He needed those. He took pride in those opportunities. Herman was such a gifted violist. Now, I always described Herman as marching to the beat of a different drummer, so it should not have been surprising that he came home one day in middle school declaring that he wanted to play the viola in the school orchestra. Can you imagine my surprise? I was speechless. I said, viola? Classical music? Really? So I rented a viola for him because I was sure this was a passing phase, but I was so wrong. I have the accolades and the awards and the trophies to prove it. I remember when Herman taught himself to roller skate, and he made it look easy. In fact, he put on the skates, or I helped him put on the skates. He was a little boy, elementary school, lower elementary. He fell a few times, and then Herman took off like a professional. Herman did not have time to keep falling. He just skated, and he looked like a rollerblader just circling that rink. I was shocked. Herman had a big presence, and his heart was even bigger. He loved people, and he was loved by many. I witnessed him facing many challenges as all of us face, as all of our children face. And it broke my heart because mothers never want to see their children hurting. Although we know it will happen, we know it has to happen. We try to prepare them for those occasions. There were times when Herman and I had many long, heartfelt conversations. He always surprised me when he initiated those conversations. I was never prepared. He would call and I would think, 2, 3, 5-minute phone call, and we'd end up on the phone for an hour. And he was just sharing his heart. I learned over the years to become a better listener. And I learned that it was better if Herman initiated these intimate conversations rather than me, because when I initiated, it seemed like he wasn't in the mood to talk. But when he initiated, I had to get myself together and be prepared to listen. I didn't want to lose this opportunity. Herman had, as I reflect about Herman with you today, he had what I call practical generosity. Instead of simply asking what you wanted, Herman would observe. He would notice what you needed or what would make you happy. And he would find a way to supply that need, even if it meant he was giving his last. Now, if you knew Herman, you'd describe him as calm and patient. Most people said he was laid back, and he was. He was. But that is the opposite of who he was as a child. I think, now I was there, but I don't remember crawling or walking. I think Herman skipped all of that and went straight to running. The only time he was still is when he was asleep. And Herman didn't sleep very much at all. A gifted violist, a worship leader, a psalmist, an audio engineer, a giver, a man of faith, a person who made people from all walks of life feel valued. He was a gift to me and to so many in so many ways. Then, over a year ago, everything changed. What does it mean for a mother to realize my child is gone? I didn't stop being Herman's mother when Herman passed away. I want to stop for a moment and share this with you. I've been wanting to share this for a while. It is very difficult for me to say Herman died. I don't know why that is or if that will ever come easier. But every time I'm in a position to say Herman died, I have to say Herman passed away. Herman died is too difficult at this point. So Herman passed away, but I had to figure out what it meant to be his mother when I could no longer call or text him or hug him. I couldn't hear his voice. I couldn't have one of those mama dates that we had. I think I described earlier how we went to the Fox Theater here in Atlanta and we saw a play about Tina Turner. It was a musical and Herman loves all kinds of music, so I thought he would enjoy it. And Herman picked me up on this mama date and his car was clean. He loved keeping his car pristine anyway. And he was dressed to a T. He had on these shades that I still wear. I wear his shades when I'm wearing sunglasses. And he walked up to the front door of my building and he opened the door for me. I got into his car. It smelled good. And he was playing this really beautiful, smooth jazz music. It was some kind of mama date, I'll tell you. But what do I do when I don't have that anymore? Or I don't have him here to pray for? See, loss didn't only take someone I loved, it changed me. That loss changed me. The grief that is exhausting, the quiet moments, the unexpected triggers. These are things that I wasn't dealing with before the loss. And again, this is how loss changed me. Exhausting grief, quiet moments, unexpected triggers, waves that hit you in unexpected ways, at unexpected times, and the strange experience of the rest of the world continuing when my world has been permanently altered. I previously talked about my younger son's dance video that went viral. If you have not seen that, you should see it. I saved that video for 3 years because watching Brandon enter that Father's Day dance hall made me happy. It made me smile with pride, and I screamed cheering for him. I and his children were his biggest cheerleaders. I had pride to see the courage it took for Brandon to get up in front of all those people and dance. After Herman passed away, I found myself returning to this video more often. See, the video wasn't simply funny anymore. The video didn't simply make me smile anymore. It became medicine for my spirit. I wasn't watching because I had forgotten Herman. I was watching because for a few minutes I smiled. I laughed. I didn't hurt. I wasn't in grief. For those few moments, I discovered that laughing again wasn't a betrayal of my grief, That's something that grieving people need to hear, because we often feel like we don't have a right to laugh or smile or to have joy. You see, I can miss Herman desperately and laugh. I can cry in the morning and dance in the afternoon. There have been times when I cried on the way to teaching my line dance class. I'm in the car crying because I'm thinking about Herman and I'm missing him. And I get there, I get myself to go together, and I go and I teach and I laugh and I enjoy the participants in my class. I can have a terrible wave of grief, a terrible day of grief, and still appreciate the beauty and the gift of my beautiful grandchildren. One emotion doesn't cancel the other. So I learned some things about finding joy. That's why I'm doing this series. I want to share some things that I learned. Finding joy does not mean I have finished grieving. Finding joy doesn't mean I don't miss Herman. Finding joy doesn't mean I'm okay with what happened. Finding joy doesn't mean my faith prevents me from hurting. Finding joy doesn't require me to leave Herman behind. You see, I don't have to choose between remembering Herman and living my life. However, I do carry him in a different way now. His generosity influences how I give. His faith makes me examine my own. His music, I loved hearing Herman play the viola. He had picked up other instruments as well, but the viola left me and the room mesmerized. So his music, both what he played and what he loved, the type of music he loved, still lives in my memories. I was listening to a saxophonist, Kurt Whalen, yesterday, and he has a new song called Thy Kingdom Come. If you haven't heard it, find it and listen to it. It is so beautiful. But it brought tears to my eyes because I was thinking, Herman will really love this. I knew the kind of music he enjoyed. I would have sent him that video. What made him smile still makes me smile. And even that little boy declaration, Mom, I can do it. It takes on a completely different meaning now. Mom, I can do it. All his life, Herman was telling me, I can't tell you how many times he said it. Mom, I can do it. And sometimes I wonder whether those words have become a part of what he left for me, because there are mornings when grief says, I don't know if I can do this today. I don't know how to live the rest of my life without one of my children. I don't know if celebrating holidays will ever be something I look forward to again. I don't know if I can laugh without feeling a little guilty. I don't know if I can keep moving forward on some of my most difficult days. And somewhere in my memory is that independent little boy saying, Mom, I can do it. And now I'm learning to answer him. My answer is, son, I believe with God's help, I can do it too. Your loss may not be my loss. You may have lost your husband, your mother, your best friend, your sibling, or your child. I would never tell you I know exactly how you feel. I don't. Even if you lost a son the way I lost a son, I can relate to that, but I can never tell you I know exactly how you feel. But I can tell you what I'm learning. Joy doesn't require us to stop grieving. Sometimes joy sits right beside grief. Sometimes it comes through a song. Sometimes it comes through a memory. Sometimes through somebody dancing in a park. Sometimes it's just one unexpected laugh on a day when you didn't think you had one left. And when it comes, don't push it away. Receive it. Allow it. Your laughter doesn't mean you love them less. Your living doesn't mean you've left them behind. And your joy doesn't dishonor their memory. So keep loving, keep remembering, keep living, and wherever you can, keep finding joy. So in the words of Herman, let me say this to you. You can do it. Thank you for joining me on this second episode of Finding Joy with Loss. And I hope I see you for episode 3. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.